what we are all doing, I think, is really taking what we have on the inside and making it manifest, not necessarily in a way that you might recognize, but certainly what we're pulling out from within us are our responses to the world that's out there. And that world, for me, is what I call gesture, form, and light. You know, I think we'd all agree that that's what photography is about, and that's what I'm always looking for, trying to find something that resonates with who I am, where I've come from, and all the strange and mysterious things that have made me unique from, and this is as far as my recollection can go back, from the age of 5, because when I was 5 years old, something happened in Los Angeles where I grew up, which was really transformative. It snowed buckets. It snowed so much that they refer to it as the first historic snowfall in Los Angeles. I wasn't yet of school age, so I got to hang out and just enjoy myself tremendously. My brother had to go to school, which was great. Had all the snow to myself. But more importantly, and I want to draw a picture in your minds, and hopefully you can get to what I was feeling that day, because it's really all about feeling. I woke up for some reason at sunrise. I generally didn't do that at age 5. Walked to the window. Again, I don't know why. It might have been a real, an interesting stillness that woke me up, which is kind of an odd thought. But I padded over to the window and I looked out at Griffith Park. I don't know if any of you know Los Angeles. From my house to the foothills was a vista that I was very, very comfortable with and very, very aware of, and also very used to. Well, it was no longer that same vista, as you can imagine. But what was really interesting was that it was sunrise and it was golden light. What I thought I was seeing, and I really do mean this, was pirate's gold spread from my backyard all the way to the foothills, because the snow was golden. And I didn't think that this was golden light. I thought this was something I could go out and, with a bucket, probably the one we took to the beach, you know, and a little shovel, I could just fill my bucket and go back and forth. It was like waking up in a fairy tale. So if you can imagine how wonderful and how wondrous that feels, that's what I think everything stems from in terms of my passion to be an expressive individual. I didn't grow up with an art background. This all came to me quite late in life. I was actually going to be a doctor. My wife describes it as a moment where this wonderful feeling that happened to me is still something. I'm trying to search for the meaning of the feeling that I felt and tie it into the pictures that I make. I am trying to find meaning in what that experience was for me. Elements of personal vision is what I like to talk about. It's what concerns and interests me. It's what I teach, because I think all of us come to photography. Well, if you're like me, I knew nothing. I was as ignorant could be. And it took me years, because I was self-taught, to try and understand what a good picture is, what makes it good. All of the things that in some ways I think a lot of people who begin this journey struggle with. In any way, let me just put your mind at rest. If you keep putting one foot in front of the next, you will take that path and you will be successful. You will look back at the work that you have accumulated and you'll say to yourself, my goodness, I really didn't have to worry so much. It took care of itself. If you keep applying yourself and are passionate about this pursuit, that's what happens. Finding our authentic voice. Well, that's what it's really about, because if it's coming from within us, it has a heck of a lot more meaning. I think that all of us, as you've heard the expression, stand on the shoulders of other great photographers and other great artists. As the person who I think I respected most and who affected my vision most, who I finally had a chance of meeting, which really was a tremendous moment for me, said, don't consider it plagiarism that you like my work so much that you see elements of it in your work at times. Consider it an homage. And certainly we have to do that, because we're not seeing the world necessarily with totally fresh eyes. It doesn't work that way, because every image we've ever seen is part of what we are made of, and part of how we see the world today. When an artist puts their work out there, it loses ownership in a sense. It's really for everybody else who views it, right, to see if they respond to it. Working with the light. If you can't work with the light and see the light, you can't really make pictures that sing and come alive. This was my mentor, Max Yavno. He was a dear friend. We used to travel together. Unfortunately, I had gotten married, and some of the trips that he had wanted to take me on as a helper, I couldn't go on. But he was responsible for teaching me, and that's Max, the most important lesson about photography that I learned, and that is there are no secrets. There's just undiscovered knowledge that's out there. There's no silver bullet. It's really not rocket science. It's just applying yourself one day at a time to trying to make images and being critical and looking at them and trying to learn. But this is something that I show students when they want to see the direction of light, repetitive forms, all the tricks we use. They're not tricks, but all the things that we use in order to make a picture more interesting. Depth of field being one, line, shape, composition, you know, all of the things you hear about endlessly. This is one of the pictures that made a profound impression on me, because it's the first time I can honestly say that I understood what gesture meant. I understood how I responded to the landscape, which is what I talk about in my workshops and with students at Hallmark, whatever. This is the path that I am traveling on. My vision is very much association with who I was as a child, but it's whatever you wish to see. Art is the open space that allows the viewer in. It's the poem and not the prose. I like to see change. I like to challenge myself and see if I can see something new in what I'm so used to seeing all the time. Do not go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Ralph Waldo Emerson. I'd like to think that at times that's what my pictures do. This is, for a while, I'd go out on my birthday and I'd get lucky. This is Buffalo Falls again. I was with my son. We were just taking a walk in the woods. Middle of winter, got warm, and it's all about weather, as has been said about Ansel Adams. It's not about mountains, it's about weather. And it's all about what I see as, you know, those things that touch me deeply, issues that I'm not comfortable with, like death, you know, and going back to the soil. I think it's a great natural process, but I'm not happy about it. But, you know, I see things like this, and I start thinking about connection. And if I'm smart, I stop and I take my camera out. It's one of the first pictures I ever took where I learned that, yes, if you put a tripod in water and you let the water go in and out, it can do something magical. You know, if you're ever depressed, go to a stream, go to the ocean, put a tripod in the sand, and let the water do what it does. You never know what you're going to get, but it's always going to bring a smile to your face. There are pictures to be made anywhere. This is a little park along Santa Monica Boulevard. This is a cactus garden. I always use a tripod. I hate not shooting in medium format. This is handheld 35mm, and I just love it. I'm trying to get over the fact that it has to be what the rules said it had to be. When I grew up, we weren't supposed to move a branch. What we found is what we photographed. And then the clone tool came along, and the world changed. Yeah. I think that photography gives me meaning and proof of existence, and it's also fun. You know, it's a pleasurable experience, especially when you make pictures that you like. For all of you who are shooting digitally, I find it's great to make pictures and put them away for a month, because I'm not sure how well you can really feel if it's going to be a keeper quickly. And I think we're all so prone to deleting from our CF cards because we need the space, because it's always, we're so able to take so many pictures. But don't be too delete happy. Memory is cheap. Be true to the subject, be true to the feelings that the subject inspires, interpret the world through your eyes, heart, and mind, communicate what it is to be human. And that's really, I think, what we do. That's what we try to do, you know? We see the world metaphorically, if that's your bent, and that's my bent, and I see it in a way that tickles my fancy. It's as simple as that. It's always on the trail of light and form. It's always trying to find that something that you would never have experienced had you not had a camera and that was your pursuit. It makes us see the world and open our eyes to it. People say the film is different and better, they say. I don't really know that I see it that way. I also don't like film as a medium for all the social reasons, for all the reasons that I think it's a polluting medium. It uses animal byproducts. It's something I'm actually happy I stay away from at this point in time. But at the same time, I also find that the digital and the control you have with digital is so mind-blowing. And here's a master of digital control. I think I do well, but it's really the picture making. Well, the picture making and the expressiveness of that image is a process that is both the capture and the execution after in the post-processing. But I think that you have much more control now that it's digital, plus which you can get up while you're burning and dodging and get a cup of coffee. And you can go back and sit down and resume it. You know, in the old days, we just had 10 seconds to do everything. And, you know, and it was a mad scramble. Very tense if you've ever been in a darkroom. I love the new technology, up to a point. And that point is you're always having to learn new technology. You know, I'm old. Give me a break. What can I say? Anything else? All I can say to you is if you like photography, you're among, you know, gazillions of people, and there must be something about it that makes it so wonderful to be part of that fan club of a technology and an art form. And please do consider it art and not something that's machine-driven. It's as artful as any painter or any poet or anyone who takes brush to canvas. And never give painters or all those other people who may doubt that an inch, please. Okay, thank you.